All right, folks, how you doing? RussellTrueResults303.com. Check out the website, link in the description box. Some other things linked there as well. Coming at you today with a video on how to run better, right? And don't forget Mind, Body, Spirit, Fitness. Coming at you today with a video on how to run better, run faster. If you're an endurance athlete, what can you do, right? So first of all, we're going to go with some of the basics. Are you fueling properly before the race? You know, are you carb loading? Are you doing a deload week? So where you're taking time off going into that race so you are well prepared and rested for that race. And then once again, are you carb loading correctly? They say it's better, if I remember correctly, to start carb loading if your race is on a Saturday. Start carb loading on like Wednesday, not just the night before, on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, leading up to the race, right? So are you resting properly the week before? And are you giving yourself the proper nutrients? Are you eating correctly the week before? Those are my number one and number two tips. Number three is going to be your breathing. Have you been working on your breathing, right? If you're running, of course, breathing comes into play. You might get winded and you might start getting those cramps, right? Once we start breathing heavily, you start getting major side pains. So how is your breathing? Have you been training for breathing? That's another big thing. Have you been training for your breathing? I'm always going to recommend a book. I have a video on how to breathe properly. If I remember, I'll put it in here. I pretty much got the technique from the gentleman, I can't remember his name right now, who created the book Mind, Body, Sport. He has this whole breathing technique, big belly breaths, and how to properly breathe when you are running. So, you know, some people say it works, some people say it does not work. So that's number three. How is your breathing? Are you breathing correctly? All right. Then we'll go into some actual training, right? So, of course, you're going to want to work on your speed. You're going to want to work on sprinting. So do you have intervals while you're training of your speed, if you're on a treadmill or if you're not? Either way, do you have those speed intervals? Next is going to be hill intervals. Do you have hill intervals? Are you running up hills and down hills? Because, of course, no matter what terrain, unless you're running on a track, a lot of these endurance events are just outside in normal places, and there are going to be hills, and there are going to be, you know, you're going to be going uphill, you're going to be going downhill, you're going to have to do your speed intervals. And I think when you combine them together, it's called a fartlek. Look it up. But I'm pretty sure that's what a fartlek is. So it's hill intervals. Next, I'm going to say, for me, jump training. Plyometrics. Are you jumping? When you think about it, what is running? You're just jumping consistently over and over again, right? It's just a small jump. That's what's getting you going. So are you doing plyometrics? Have you been jumping, right? So, of course, the quicker you can move those feet, same thing when you're jumping. That's what jumping is. I think it's called the amortization period. It's how fast you can react once you hit the ground and jump back up. How fast your body reacts to jumping. So, plyometrics, jump training. Are you there? Next, of course, it's always working on your gait. You know, you're walking, even just walking. How is your stride? For me, my right leg, my foot kind of, when I walk, when I'm swinging back, my foot kind of swings out and back in. This one is fine. It just goes normal. This one kind of swings. So my hips all weird. So there you go. How is your gait? Next is going to be your arm movement, right? We always want to make sure we're running like this. We lose a lot of momentum when we start twisting the body. We don't want to run like this. A lot of people run like this. That's just, you know, now you're taking up more space and there's more wind hitting you. You want to be running straight, just like that. We never want to twist while we run. That's just creating more energy versus here. If you're here, you're good. Here, the whole body's starting to rotate, and now you're losing energy. You're just making it harder on yourself, right? So we're running straight, like that. You can close your fists if you want. That's fine. We just want no rotation in our running. Next, if you're a lifter, sorry, I got chapped lips. It's been windy here the last couple of days. That's why I keep licking my lips. I didn't put any chapstick on before this video. Next is going to be, are you a weightlifter? If you're an endurance athlete that enjoys resistance training, that's great. But remember, if you're starting to lift heavy, in that 4, 5, 6 rep range, that's going to slow you down. So you want to work on endurance, because why? You're running. That's an endurance sport. So you want to get up in those higher rep ranges, 15, 20, 25, 30, things like that. Work on maybe the 10 by 10 program. I might do a video on that 10 by 10 program by Vince Garanda, if I remember correctly. So working on endurance leg exercises for longer periods of time. And remember, once again, it's still form, form, form. You don't want to get sloppy. You want to have good form, especially when you get to these higher rep ranges. So that means you're going to have to lower the weight as well. All right. I have one more. I threw a couple in there that just popped into my head while I was talking. And then the last one is you might have to lose some weight. My most successful client, Grace, she says she trained on her own for her first triathlon sprint. Her first triathlon sprint took her 3 hours and 45 minutes. And she said she trained for like 4 or 5 months by herself the first time she ever participated in a triathlon sprint. And when she started training with me, it was in June. So we had 6 months, and she had lost 50 pounds. She was a bigger lady at the time. She lost 50 pounds. And she went from, I think, she took an hour off. She went from, I think, 3:30, 3:45 to 2:30, 2:45. All right. So, and then next was going to be muscle. You might have to lose some muscle mass if you're a muscular person. I'm not saying that you have to, but it's a possibility. And of course, you want to lose it safely. You don't want to be starving yourself. You don't want to be doing anything like that. Just lower your protein intake, lower your calorie intake, and you'll be all right. We want to do these things safely. And it might not be for you. Once again, this is going to be the last thing, especially if it's muscle mass. This will be the last thing. You want to implement all those other things I just talked about first, and that losing or reducing your muscle mass will be the last thing you do, because muscle is great for your body. All right, so that's going to be the last thing we need to do. And then let's see, I have one more. I just skipped my mind. No, let's see, I had reducing the weight. There's one more. So yeah, just, are you hydrated? If you're taking these longer, if they're these longer marathon type things, you got to remember, you got to have the proper foods with you. How is your digestion working? So you want to be able to check that. What are you drinking during this time frame? If it's a really long distance, you need to make sure you have enough. Water isn't going to do it. You're going to want to have Gatorades with you and sugary things with you to keep your carbohydrates and keep your carbohydrate stores high, because you want energy throughout this whole thing. The next thing, this is the last one. If you're doing these triathlon sprints and things like that, do them out of order. Even when you're running, I did that biathlon series with my clients, and it was, we did the first one, we just ran 4 miles and then we biked 10. The second one, they broke it up to where we ran 2, biked 4.5, ran 2, and then finished off with 6.5. And then the last one, we biked the 10, and then we ran the 4. For me, I did the best one. They split it up. So train differently as well. Train yourself differently and breaking up those things. That's going to help you as well, especially if you're getting into these duathlon or I did the biathlon series, or it might have been a duathlon. That was a dual, I think. We're going to call it, not a biathlon, duathlon. But when you're able to break them up, because if you're going into these series, they're going to break them up anyways, but that's going to fatigue your legs differently. I'll tell you what, the one where I had to bike first and then run, at the end, I swear I could have been walking faster. I could have seriously been walking faster than I was running. I knew it wasn't true, but I was running so slow by that second, third mile. It was ridiculous, So there you go. What can you do to run better and get better results while you are performing these endurance races? I hope these help. Subscribe to the channel, share and like these videos.